All right, so good morning, everyone. Good morning, programmers. Welcome to this session. So for today, we're gonna be discussing about abstract data type. So it's supposed to be uh, in 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 the field of, supposed to be before you will have data structures and algorithms. You must have an idea of what is object-oriented programming is. No? So, kumbaga, you have an idea of data abstraction already. Supposed to be now. But I assume I assume you have a OOP at the same time. You have data structures this semester, no? So anyway, you have an idea naman of Java. So it would be easier for you to get along with abstract data type. But before that, let us review yesterday's discussion. Last time, no, last week. So we have discussed about the data structures, no, introduction of data structures as well as the algorithm. As we all know, the when we talk about algorithm is a way to solving a problem. No, in it's a finite set or set of steps leading to a solution. So it's a way to solving a problem. When we say data structure is uh, a way to organize and manage our data, no, to organizing our data, which we are actually solving a problem. So, meaning to say, if data structures and algorithm is a study of making a solution and then arranging them and managing them in a way that they are efficient. Okay, so there are the two main focus of data structures and algorithm. But in algorithm complexity, that is actually in your uh, algorithm analysis. That's another course. But at least you have an idea how to make or how to at least identify or determine a solution, and how to identify an efficient solution is we use the algorithm complexity. So we can say that an algorithm is efficient or not, okay, based on the time and space complexity. So when we talk about time, it's the amount of time the a certain algorithm is required to run. Okay, and then when we talk about space complexity, it's the amount of space required or amount of memory required or space or memory required for the algorithm to run. So that's it, no? Time and space complexity. We cannot, most of our solutions cannot sometimes now if we are going to make our program efficient in the virtue of time complexity, sometimes ma-compromise po na nimo ang space or vice versa. So meaning to say kung ang space po imong focus, ma-compromise po ang time complexity. Okay? So for space complexity, it's easier for us to actually determine. So that's why last time when in our object-oriented principles, I discussed to you about the ranges, no, the ranges of the each data type, because every time we use a data type in our program, it has this what we call equivalent space now allocated to your RAM. So meaning to say, uh, when you use byte or boolean, it would have 1 byte. So one byte that's actually 127, no? 127, that's positive 127 to negative 128. So dili na nimo ma-measure dili na nimo ma-appreciate ang gamit ana nilang mga data types. Why? The use of data types for our program. That is why we don't we what we call this one, how do I say this? Kanang dili ka basta-basta mo gamit og data types. Okay? Just what I've told you in OOP na we don't just use our data types na let's say magdawat kang og numbers na ginagmay lang na numbers and you use int or you use any other types na mas longer sa expected ni or bigger sa expected nimo na pangayoon or input or entry from your users. Okay, so that's it, no, for let's say for int, that's actually 4 bytes, and then we'll have here for double and float. Double and float, that's actually 8 bytes. 8 bytes. For character and short, that's 2 bytes. Wala, nalimtan ako. So we have for character and short, that's actually 2 bytes. So using these bytes, now byte size, we can actually calculate the space complexity of this certain algorithm. So for an instance, we have here, long is, that's, long is probably, kasi mas longer na siya sa ano, that's 16 bytes. Okay? So let's say we skip this long. Okay, pwede natin i-skip si long. Let's focus on, kasi ang long, we just use this one for calculating the time and time complexity of our program, no? The starting time the program runs or executed, and then the end of time it is executed. Okay, so for this solution, let's focus on this one right here. So you have n, meaning that's 2 bytes. So that's yeah, this is like 2 bytes. And for string is also 8 bytes yan. Okay, this is like, asa man ta mag-calculate? There na lang. Okay, that's 2 bytes. Okay, so 2. Right, so we have also here hold. Let's say hold is 8 bytes. And then for int, that's 4 bytes. And then we have another, yeah, that's it. So in that particular case, we can calculate our space complexity based on these bytes. So we have actually, yeah, it's 2 times 4, 2 plus 4 plus 2 plus 8 plus 8 plus 4, which is actually 14. Now 14 bytes or 14 bytes of memory are, or memory space required for this program or for this application. Okay, so another example we have here. Okay, so this is 2 bytes. Let's say this is 8 bytes, so that's 10. This is another 2 bytes, so that's 4 bytes, sorry. So that's 14. This one is another 4. So you have here parang 4 times 2 plus 2 plus 8. Kasi dalawa ang integer, right? So 4 times 2, duha man ka integer. So that's why you have here 2, 4 times 2, because int is 4 bytes. 4 times 2, that's 4. Then yeah, then that times 2, that's 8 plus 2, that is 6. Sorry, that's 14. And then plus 8 is 22. No? So tama ba? 8, 9, 18. 4 times 2, 8, 19. 18 lang di ay 18, sorry. So 18 bytes ang required for this. Yeah, so we have 18 bytes for this. So how much more kung idungag pa nato ning long, and let's say ang long is, because long is, let's say 16 bytes. Okay? So let's say 16 bytes. So if you're gonna be asking me, sir, i-appeal ba na ang long? Yes, kasi it's part of your code. Okay? If you don't include that one in your code, that's the time dili po siya appealon sa imuhang, di po siya mag-allocate of memory. Okay? So nganong ganina, sir, magka nag-appeal dito sa long? Di ba, I just told you, nag-assume lang ta na since this one is we just use this variable for this parang displaying the time complexity, the start time and then the end time. So nag-assume lang ta na dili i-appeal. Pag i-appeal na to na, that's actually another 16 bytes. So that's 16 plus 16, that's 32. Then plus 18, that's actually 32 plus 18, it's pila man na? 60 pila na? For 50. 32 plus 18, that's 50. No? So that's 50 bytes. Napadyoy str, another string, that's 8 bytes. So 58 na ang space required for this application or for this memory. For this ano. So this one is 58 bytes for this program para marun. Okay? So that is how you actually calculate the space complexity. Okay? And for you to know more of this, I have actually prepared a tutorial for this one in my YouTube channel with the PowerPoint, of course. Okay. So in the time complexity is I have also prepared I made a tutorial for that. So uh, it's going to be like for an instance, you have here the this one. So this one can be considered as one. Okay, that's one meaning 1 unit. Okay, so this one is this input is also considered as like 1 unit. Okay, so for this is also 1 unit, right? And then for this one, we have n plus 1. Okay, and then 1, that is 1, this one is also 1. This is also, let's say this is, sorry, 1. Okay, so this time you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have, okay, we have, for this solution, we have n plus 6. So this is your formula now in the T of n. So kumbaga, T of n, all right, so T of n is now equal to, sorry, to n plus 6, which is the n is actually the value that is the user is going to enter. Let's say if the user is going to, you just have to substitute, let's say the value of n is entered by the user is 5. So you just have to uh, add it by 6. So that is, so 5 plus 6, we have 11 units. Okay, 11 units of time. Okay, another example is, let's say your n is 10. 10 plus 6, that's actually 10 plus 6 is now 16 units. So in ana, along as time, as the value of n is going to increase, the time of units is also going to increase. Okay? So that's what I've told you, no? The more na imong or the more na imuhang given the space complexity also, the more for space complexity, the more variables or data types you are going to put in your program, the more space it will require. For time complexity, it does not matter on how much variables, no, how much variables or data type you use. Yeah, it's matter, but it does not focus on that, but how much input. Okay, it's actually based on the inputs, based on that certain inputs, of course, based on this certain algorithm of yours. Okay, similarly, if you have something like here, this is let's say for time complexity, this is, yeah, ibutang ha. So for this one, we have erase na to ni. So this is like 1. Okay, so this one is another 1. So anything that is initialization or anything na initialize statement is considered as 1. Okay, so this is also 1. Okay, this is 1. And then, so this is, we have here 1 for x is equal to 1. And then for the, for this one, comparison, you have actually n, okay, 1n for that. Okay, and then for x plus plus, so we have, this is what they call this one. This is incrementation, that's n plus 1. And then we have for sum plus x, we have n plus 1. And then for this one, we have n plus 1. So in the event na inana siya, napakay 1. So you have for string another 1. So this time, the time complexity, P of n is, so you have how many? So we have n plus 1. So they have another n plus 1 right here. Apa to n? Ganina asa pa tong n. Isa ka n. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4n. Okay, plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So 9 can 1. So we have in your formula now, you have here the linear equation for your time complexity 4n plus 9. Okay, so in this case, as since you have 4n plus 9, the moment the value of n, it doesn't have to be like n because we use n here, we use n here, no? It doesn't matter. Pag x na siya, still this one is like n. N is just a representation of an input. Okay? So, meaning to say, if the input of this algorithm is, let's say, if this is fixed like 10, the n is 10, then therefore 10 siya automatic ang value niya. Okay? But since this one is mag-vary siya from the user's entered integer, so let's say the entered integers is 10, 4 times 10, okay, 4 times 10, that's 40, 49. So you have 49. If your n is 10, if n is 10, the time unit is actually 49 units. That's it, no? So in ana, so as well, if mag-increase imohang data entry or imohang input, same yapon. So you just have to calculate. So 20 times 4, that's actually 80. Yan, 80. So 80 plus, so if n is 20 or 20, so that's 80, 89 units. So that's how you calculate for the value of the time complexity or T of n. That's for that's in unit, no? So that's manual calculation. So yung ginawa natin yesterday, last time, it's not time complexity. It's just it's just our parang assumption that this at this very statement, mag-start ang pag i-capture niya ang time, okay? Start, and then the end, i-capture niya ang time, and then for us to get the difference between the end and start, we'll have to calculate end minus start, and that's, we assume that it's the units now. That's why the more your codes na daghan, the more daghang process, the more it will become, of course, it will become more units for time units now required for this algorithm. So we also have a quadratic formula for this one. So let's discuss this one in your algorithm complexity, but quadratic formula is not actually applicable to in real world. So pag mag-use ka of quadratic formula, pag naka-nested loops na ka. Okay? So let's reserve that in your what they call this one, in your algorithm complexity. In I guess in the you have other or separate topics for that. So that's how you solve for space and time complexity. Right? Question. Do you have questions? That is one of the things that I forgot to discuss last time. Okay. So do you have any questions so far? No, sir. Okay, very good. So if you want to, of course, now if you want to just like to review, so I have again prepared a tutorial for that. In it's uh, it's actually clear in my YouTube channel. So and I also made a PowerPoint there. So mas detailed siya dito. With here also I'm gonna share this one to you para you could also you could also review this one. Okay, so para mas detailed lang to dito because it's made may naa siya PowerPoint. Okay, so with definition of course. So this time let's now proceed with the main focus for this week, which is abstract data type. Okay, so I'm going to start with creating or modeling a simple object now in real world. Okay, sige. So what is ADT? What is abstract data type? When we talk about abstract data type, it's it's a creation of a class where we make the attributes or the properties of a certain object being hidden or being hidden, or it's actually being hidden to the users who's gonna be using the such object. Okay, so it's actually an implementation of encapsulation. Okay, so let's say for an instance, I have actually discussed this one a little bit in our OOP before, or yesterday ba yon, or if not yesterday but the other day. So just like your cell phone, no? Your cell phone is an encapsulated object and it's considered as an abstract object. Okay, so it's fully abstracted. It's because what what is inside of that is it's no longer of our concern. So yes, it's no longer of our concern because we only concern of the its functionality on how it works. Okay. Another example is let's say a car, no? So kani para mas makarelate. So 'di ba ang car on your ang car sa imuhang dashboard na nag-join. So sa atong car, 'di ba natay sa in front of us, no, kung ano ta sa driver's seat, naatay na dashboard dira. And then we only see the fuel consumption, iyahang RPM, iyahang ang battery status. All of this are kung kumbaga ang manifestation sa changes sa state sa object is seen there in our dashboard, and it's fully abstracted. What do you mean by fully abstracted? It's fully hidden behind us. So it's not available for the users like us because as for us to use the car, no, for like driving lang or for traveling lang, we don't have to know what's inside or what's behind that dashboard or what's behind that interface of yours. Kumbaga ang interface lang na available sa imo is only the dashboard, only the screen, or probably kanang sa dashboard ni ba no, sa screen dila makita nimo dira ang status sa imong battery, as I've said, ang imuhang status sa imuhang oil consumption, also sa imong engine. I guess makita po nimo dito ano ang engine oil and RPM, of course, what the moment mag-accelerate ka. And then what else? O basta na makita nimo dira sa dashboard, and then behind it, it's no longer our concern. Okay? So, syempre, the ano lang there is what is our take there is that when we plan to become a someone, no, who or say, let's say mechanic na lang. You want to become a mechanic. Of course, it's not only enough for you to just know how to drive. It's not only enough for you to know unsay basic functionality sa car, because what it takes to become a mechanic is you'll have to go behind behind the wheels, no, behind the dashboard. So probably imo na siyang tanggalon ang mga dashboards, and then kung ano nimo ang mga components and parts, what are these components that are related to other components or interconnected to other components or parts of that cars. So you will have to study them, you will have to familiarize them, because you want to become a mechanic. Kasi how can you possibly fix that car if there are troubles, if you are not familiar with those parts? So that's it, no? That's the time you will become now a parang we can say that you can now be called as the creator, or the we are not only the user now. Okay, if you want to become both user at the same time, a troubleshooter or a mechanic, so you have to know what's inside of that car. Okay, so of course for now, sa ato ang state karon is we only in our similarly sa atong program, there are mga classes that are built in. There are what else? There are let's say kaning mga reference types that are built in, and we use them in our program. So it's for now, it's only enough na magamit nato sila, and then as long as we know their functionality, know their how we can actually use them, and how they actually behave in our program. So okay na or enough na for us as a user, or as a parang beginners, no, who just started to learn programming. Okay, but what if you want to expand your horizon? So in a sense that kuya, no, expand your horizons. Of course, that's where we are actually heading to. What if you are going to expand more on your capabilities and skills in such a way that you want to develop like your own class, your own API, and something like that. So what if in ANA? So of course, this time you will have to know what's inside of the uh, you will have to know what's inside of that class, no, or abstract data type. So kumbaga, for us to know how to fix a certain, or for us to know how to create a certain program, or a certain like API or a certain class, no, we'll have to also know what are the parts of this. So and then if and then the users of our ADT, or the users of our class, will now have only an access, so only an access of what is made available for them. So the same sa car, di ba? Ang what's only made available for us is ang steering wheel. Okay, pero behind it is siya parts dito na connected siya sa other parts na we don't know, because we don't study them. No, we don't study what's the parang steering wheel. Okay? And same as true kasi if it is made available for the users, like kita nag-drive ta, aside from pangit siya na makita ang mga wires, makita ang components dito sa ilalom anang ato ang dashboard, of course, ang tendency is there's a big probability or a big chance na matandog na to ang mga wires, and it can be easily broken, or it can be easily ruined. So dali siya maguba because we have an easy access on that particular data, or on that particular component. So in ana siya, no, that's why abstracted. It's encapsulated in a representation of an object na dapat ma-cover siya, no, na siya cover para ma-protect siya. Okay? So that's what we are going to do right now. So we are not only a user, at the same time we become a creator of our own. So let's put the analogy uh, of a car mechanic na this time you now become a mechanic at the same time. Of course, kabalo ka mekaniko ka, kabalo jud ka mag-drive sa car, kabalo jud ka unsay parts sa mga cars, and for you to become an effective mechanic. So for you to become an effective programmer, you'll have to know that. You'll have to know what's inside of the class. So this time I'm gonna be teaching you how to uh, create to make an abstract data type in a certain or specific language. That for this time we will be using Java. Okay, so if you guys have your laptop or PC with you, you can actually follow or repeat after me, and I'll just be gentle. Okay, but the question there is naabay naga-follow or wala, para diretso-diretso ta kay kung wala nag-follow dili ko maghinay, kung naay nag-follow maghinay-hinay ko. Hello? Are you there? Hello everyone. Hinay lang sir. So naay mag-follow. Ivan. Okay, mag-follow ka Ivan. Sige. So hinay-hinayon na to, and then if you have clarifications or questions, you can then interrupt me, no? So while I'm discussing. So tingog lang kasi I cannot like traverse from net Eclipse to, kasi it's sa video basin mapangit sige ko ganaana. So tingog lang, no? Anyway, mag-notify manoon siya with the sound, pero mas okay kung tingog, okay? So this time let's model let's model an object. So let's create an abstract data type for, let's say, kanina lang kay kasi I'm used into this one, create taog water tank. Okay? So let's say mag-create taog water tank. O sige, fuel tank na lang. Fuel tank ato ang buhaton para fuel tank kay related sa car natong ginastoryahan. Okay? So let's say we are going to create a fuel tank. Fuel tank is just one component of a car. Okay? So it is just again one of the components of the car, no? So syempre it's important na ang fuel tank nato dili ta mahutdan og fuel, because it's the only way for our car to move, no? So and then the state of the object is going to be seen or manifested in the dashboard. So dito na to makita sa dashboard ang kumbaga for transparency, kasi if you don't have that interface in your dashboard, of course, how would you know that your tank is going to be empty, or how would you know that if your tank is full? How would you know that you will be needing to get a fuel? Okay, so we will be focusing on that here in our program. So unsay mga attributes na naa sa fuel tank? So before that, let me discuss to you what it takes to create abstract data type, or to, so pasensya naga-burp ko. So what it takes to create an abstract data type. So ADT, no, abstract data type. We have abstract data type. The keyword there is abstract, no? When we say abstract, 'di ba kuan, kung naatay kung mag-paint, kung let's say abstract painting, 'di ba normally kung abstract painting only the painter, painter ba? Yeah, only the painter knows the knows the
Message sir sa
parang
iyang
message sa iyang paint, 'no, tama. Knows he is the only one who knows the message for that paint he is painting, or he was painting, or he painted, kaya siya abstract, 'no? So, mao na usahay ginagara-gara gani na, kumusta ang uyab ni kuan, kumustang gwapa ang uyab ni kuan, ni unsa ni Kano, ni Kana, ni Juan, abstract, 'no? Ano man lisod i-explain, 'no? Kailangan pa i-explain, kailangan pa i-debate bitaw, joke lang. So, that's the essence of abstract, 'no? So, only you as a programmer who can explain it thoroughly, and then kasi katong mga, probably katong mogamit ana is dili na nila need na mahibal-an unsay gigamit nimo na sa painting, 'no, unsay gigamit ato na paint, basta kay na-appreciate ta nimo ang painting, okay? And ang essence lang ang message sa painting is makita lang nimo unsa ang iyahang paint, 'no? Pero ang message or ang essence ato unsay mga giunsa to nimo, unsay imong behind your ano, parang consciousness kung unsa pa to siya, giunsa nimo pag-come up, you don't have to discuss it with them. Okay? So, that's the same analogy here to abstracting or abstract data type in programming. Okay, so by the way, when we talk about sorry for that, when we talk about abstract data type, it has 4 operations. Okay, and when we talk about data structures, every data structure and algorithm we are going to create, there are actually operations, and they can be categorized into these 4 operations. So first is we have the creator. Okay, second is the transformers. The third is the observers. And then fourth is the input output. Okay, so let me discuss this one to you each or one by one. So when we talk about creator, this is used to initialize an object. Okay, so most likely this is constructor or destructor. Okay, so constructor is this or destructor. So this is required. Okay, this is required for a programming like Java, because you cannot you cannot call all the parts or components of this what we are creating if you don't initialize or you don't have creator in your ADT. Okay, so for Java we only have constructor because Java is garbage in, garbage out. So kumbaga automatic kaning kuan man god sa like C++, it requires you to define a destructor kasi kailangan niya i-destroy imong object, no, naa siya auto destroy ba. Okay, so sa Java it's automatic destroyed once we exit our program or the program has been terminated, the object is automatically destroyed. Okay, so inana si Java as a language, no, so dili na siya required na mag-explicit ta magbutang og destructor because it's already auto destroyed. So we also use creator for initializing not only object but for initializing our the properties, a property of this a certain class or a property of what we are going to create like ADT. Okay, so later on I'm gonna be showing you how to do that. So okay, for transformers, okay, so ang transformers are used for changing the state of the object. Now, so changing the state of the object. So like sa car ninyo, no? So para mag-change ang state sa inyong object, you will need to um, you will need to use your car. Siyempre, no? Mag-travel ka for fuel as an object. So, ang fuel, by the way, ang fuel diri mao ni atong object. Okay, ay sorry, ang fuel tank. Okay, ang fuel tank mao na atong object. So, siyempre, kailangan i-start na to ang atuang kailangan to start atong car. So that's actually your creator, no? Initializing an object and all these things para mo ano pod ang fuel tank. Okay? Transformers are used for changing the state of the object. So this time ang ang manifestation na nag-change ang state sa atong object is kato makita nato sa dashboard, which is mao nang sa observers. Pero ang reason nga no nag-change ang state sa atong object is when we do something like input output, no? Nag-travel ta. Okay, that's travel is an action, no? So nag-travel ka, nag-start ka. So the change of your fuel tank object now is going to be manifested in your ano. So magkababa siya. The more na ginagamit nimo ang car, nag-accelerate ka, nag-aircon ka, all these things right there na minusan ang value sa imuhang fuel. Okay? So nag-decrease or nag-diminish ang value sa imuhang fuel based on your action. Okay? So ang observers, these are used for these are used for ano lang for what they call this one? Used for viewing the state of the object. Used for viewing the state of the object on yun, no? Normally katong makita na to sa dashboard mao tong mga observers. So if we are going to create observers for our fuel tank in our car, so syempre mas easier for us to determine what's the state or the current change of our object now. So kung wala ang fuel tank walay observer didto sa car nimo sa dashboard. So basin pag-abot sa unahan, ang mahitabo is tingala na lang ka na mo under because nahutdan na day ka og fuel. The same with the same with the usano the usay tawag ana po'y nagpa-admit na po'y ni join. The same with the battery. So, di ba ang battery dapat excuse me, di na COVID ha. So, medyo ano lang ko sa abog-abog mong gamay dire. Joke lang. So, again, going back to where we left off, di ba nato may post, no? So, adto siya sa ang battery. So, ang battery, para social. So, kanang battery ninyo, dito na makita ninyo ang state niya sa ah, ang state sa object dito niyo makita sa iyang dashboard sa car. Okay, and of course, the input-output, these are the values or the data that you enter, okay? That you enter to change the state, okay? To change the state of the object, and observers are just used for knowing what is the current state of the object. So nakuha ninyo for operations. So mao ni ang okay, in our succeeding na mga topics, each algorithm that we are going to study will have all these operations. Pero ang siyempre kani given na jud ni siya. And kani siya, these are the things that we are going to do, no, to write in our program. Okay, so let's start with number 1. So we have here creator. So creators are constructors. So in Java, that's called constructors. Okay. So when we talk about constructors are methods with same name to our class. Tama ba ang grammar? Same name with same name to our class or with same name with same basta it's a method with same name to our class. So fuel tank, it's the name, this is the name of our class. So this time based on its definition, it's same name with our class. So therefore, you can say something like public fuel tank. So this is now a constructor. This is now your creator. And when we talk about constructors, in object-oriented programming, there are three types of constructors. Okay, so what are the three types of constructors? Okay, so the three types of constructors are, number one, uh, default constructor. Number two, parameterized constructor. Okay, parameterize. And then the third one is copy constructor. So, ma-discuss po nato ni sa ato ang OOP. Okay? So, what do you mean by default constructor? Okay, kaya gitawag siya default because whether you declare or you define it or not, Java will automatically create it by default. Okay, so I'm going to give you an assurance or an event proof, no, proof for that. So let's create another class. We are going to, sorry, we are going to implement this fuel tank. So let's say test fuel tank. So i-test na to siya. Okay, so test fuel tank, and then so notice ha na wala tay constructor right here. So in Java, it's we can actually automatically create inside of it, like fuel tank, tank equals new. This is actually your constructor right here. So based on the definition, it is used to initialize an object. So, diba sa OOP last time nag-discuss ko about uh, pag na new keyword, meaning it's an instantiation of an object. Like scanner, console equals new scanner, system.in. Okay? Vector, let's say V is equal to new vector. String str is equal to new string. So, every time magbutang taog new, that's actually instantiation. And what we are actually doing right here is we instantiate our fuel tank to have to define an object tank. And right here, so last time, for us to instantiate an object, we just use them. No? So magbutang ta diri og magbutang tag class dire, i-import na to, and then we use them. But this time, you are now the user. Okay, igamit nimo, at least nagamit ka sa katong, let's say, kaning fuel tank, and then at the same time, you are the creator of that fuel tank. Okay, so kumbaga i-test nato siya ato ang fuel tank. Kaya syempre, before nato siya kumbaga i-deploy na okay siya, working siya, i-test nato siya within our program, or i-test nato siya parang simulation, no? Ana man jud na siya, kailangan nato i-simulate. Okay? Kasi dili man na pwede na i-diretso nato paggamit sila without testing our program. Okay? So the same sa mga vaccines, kailangan na i-trial, ayan, kailangan na ay mga testing, no, beta or alpha testing or whatsoever ng mga ginagamit nila na testing. For us, no, this is one example lang of just testing. So this is like unit testing kasi i-test nato siya ang ato ang object by us, no, by us as a programmer. Okay, so going back, so mao na ni ang fuel tank. So that's what we call default constructor. So i-copy paste ako balik. Okay? So whether nag-declare ko na or wala at all, that's automatically used by Java, or by default, automatic na ni Java o himo para sa imuha. Because again, the moment you create a class in Java, automatically na din na siya constructor. Okay? So that's default constructor. So gawas nato ni siya gamay. Yan. And then, so this is default constructor. So mahibalaan nimo pag default constructor because wala siya anything like parameter. So mahibalaan po nimo pong parameterized constructor pag na siya parameter. Okay? So we have here another constructor which is called parameterized constructor. But how do we put parameter here? So of course, That's because we lack one thing in our program. We don't put any parang properties of our properties in our program. So let's say, unsa may properties sa fuel tank? Mga properties sa fuel tank. Yahang, by the way, private din nato na siya. So private. Private means it cannot be accessed outside of the class. Sa OOP, i-discuss na ako sa inyo ha ang difference ani private, public, and protected. So dili lang basta ang focus nato diri is when we declare it as private, it cannot be accessed outside of that class. Only the only thing that can be accessed outside of this class is are those that are declared as public. Meaning to say, katong kani siya, ang iya lang ma-access ani katong public declaration lang dire. So, muna akong giingon na if we, ang analogy sa computer, if we talk about na this one is the components of a car, naghihimo na to as private, so dili siya available sa user, so mo nang gitabunan siya, gitago siya sa component para dili siya can be easily accessed or ma-destroy. So let's say ang tank na ay ayan, pwede na i-double na lang nato no kay basin dili fix na whole number. So syempre na ay capacity, tama ba? Nabay capacity ang fuel tank? Naa wala. Hello guys.
Sir.
O
Yes.
naa. Syempre na ano, syempre naa. Okay. How about current water? A current tank, current fuel. Fuel, water tank mo kung ano ba. How about current fuel? Naa ba? Naa, no? Okay, so naay capacity na putay current fuel para may bala to ang current fuel. Okay. So and then syempre ang unsa pay mga ano sa fuel, kung pila capacity, kung pila iyang capacity, current fuel. So, maura man yata ang property, wala na may laing property ang ato ang fuel tank, tama, no? Wala na. Okay? So kana lang, okay? Sige. Walang kini duha ka properties lang sa water tank na to. Okay. So now siguro ang iyang shape no basin lahi og shape ang fuel tank no basin na uban circle, na uban square, na uban rectangle, pero again it varies on the capacity. So anyway, so this time we use our default constructor to initialize some objects here or some sorry ngano initialize ang butang. So let's say capacity is equal to let's say normally pila ba ano 30 liters ano? Ang uban 30 liters ba? Okay. And then current fuel is let's say 0.0. Kasi let's say empty daw ato ang current fuel. Or let's say siyempre para mudagan gamay, butang na nato 1 liter, okay? So 1 liter daw ang value sa ato ang fuel tank. Okay, so dapat na siya value daan. Pero siyempre pag bag-o siya, 0 jud na, no? Nya tubilan lang siya. Pero ibutan nato na initially na siya 1 para makadagan ato ang sakyanan. Okay? Next is in here. Okay? So, meaning to say, kani sa default constructor, if gamito ni siya, I mean, if i-call ni siya right here sa tong program, ang current liter sa tong fuel tank is 1 liter, tapos ang capacity niya is 30 liters. So, there's no way for you to, parang change it. Okay? If you want, no, if imong program is like polymorphic, meaning pwede siya na kay way na ma-change nimo ang ano sa imong water tank. So changeable ang fuel tank rather. So let's say naga company mo na nagahimo og fuel tank. So inyong focus is nagahimo mo fuel tank. Okay, so pwede na imuhang program, let's say mag-simulate ka na naa siya way para makahimo ta og ano ta og unsay values dapat sa atong capacity, meaning pwede na to ma-customize in short. So this is now parameterized constructor. Okay, so in the parameterized constructor we have the capacity equals capacity. So by the way, this is So this is also a concept in OOP, which is object-oriented programming pa rin siya. So that's why, di ba, ingon ko sa inyo ha, dapat nakaagi na mo OOP before mo nag-data structures kasi the things that we do here is fully OOP na. Okay? So by the way, this is a reference that calls an object. Instead of creating an object for fuel tank, you just use this. So basically, this is an object of fuel tank. Okay? So, nganong na-this siya, sir? Nganong dili lang siya capacity equals to capacity? Kasi by default, si Java, if though na kay duha ka capacity dire, so you have capacity as declared globally, and then you have declared here in locally. Ang ma-recognize ana niya, kasi this one is closer to this method. Therefore, okay, ako sa nang i-ana di. So since this one is closer to this method, medyo duol sa iya, siyempre mao na iya ang mas known. Okay, mura lang gunag sa okay, i-consider nato siya ba na mura siya og let's say artista ni siya no, artista ni siya sa national tapos kani sa local. So kung kani artista sa national, let's say ang pangalan niyang artista is capacity, and then you have also in your local artist ang name niya capacity, though kaila kaani niya, but the closer na artist to you is this one. So meaning kani ang medyo known sa imo. Or sige, para mas maka-relate mo, let's say you have 'di ba, let's say na ay lahi na pangalan sa universe, or lahi na pangalan dere sa Philippines, pero I mean naay lahi nga tao pero parehag pangalan. Let's say naay pangalan na taga Manila capacity, na apoy pangalan diri taga Davao capacity. So in your case, ang known sa imuhan na pangalan katong duol sa imo, mao na ang iyang i-follow, mao na ang known sa imuha. Okay? So what if, sir, instead of like capacity and then dili na capacity akong ano dire. So pwede ra, no? Pwede ra like unsay mo ibutang dira x. Pero the question there is, pag gamiton man nato na dire, unsa nang x? What is x in for the user? So mas okay kung ano siya, mailhan sa user. Now, sir, what if dire na lang ko mag-x rather than capacity? Okay, okay ra, no problem. Pero syempre, again, meta language, we speak the same language. Mas okay kung imong codes can be easily can be easily read by others. No? So what is X? Okay, so X is meaningless. It could represent anything. No, pwede siya na number, pwede na katong hate nimo kay gipasakitan ka. Pwede siya anything, right? Tama ba? Okay. So ayan, so that is why it would be better if you use meaningful names in your programs. The same with, of course, what is shown to your user. So, sir, pwede ba nako instead na inana is takoon lang nako ang C dire? If that's the case, pwede. No problem. Okay? Or kappa, well, I don't know, but again, I would rather use this one because we can do this one. No? So that capacity refers to this capacity right here equals to the capacity which refers to this local capacity here. Do you follow? Nakuha? Hi guys.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. Sige. Ano ba? Tingog pud mo gamay bisag isa lang goy mo tingog participation. So, hindi man maningog mo ram ko kastoryaan eh. Okay? So, next is the copy constructor. Sige, let's reserve this copy constructor na lang in our OOP. Okay? So, actually, ang copy constructor is basin mas nasamot mo kalibog. Ang buhaton na mag-declare ko diri og mag-declare ko explicitly og kanang i-expound na nako ni sa sa OOP na to. Let's say mag-declare ko dra og object, tapos ano ko diri og let's say fuel fuel tank, tapos kung gamiton rin is tank dot capacity equals capacity. So this one is what we call copy constructor. Okay, so for now, let's reserve this in our OOP. So dili sa nato ni i-appeal dire, but again, that's how copy constructor is, no? Actually, i-copy lang niya ang behavior sa isa ka tank, no? Or ang isa ka property sa isa ka object. Like in our case, fuel tank. But this time, atong focus diri is kani, no? Kaning duha ka buok, default and parameterized. By the way, when we talk about parameterized, your next question would be, sir, pwede ba daghan og parameters? Yes, of course. Okay, as long as it is necessary, but if not, ayaw na. Okay, so pwede ba kung magdungag drag current fuel, sir, sa capacity? Pwede, pero what's the sense? Why you put current fuel in here? Di ba ang current fuel, mag-change lang man siya based on if mag-add ka og fuel or magpaltubil ka or kung magpadagan ka sa imong car. So dili siya basically an input from the user. Okay, so yeah, it's basically an input, but it would change based on an action. Okay? Action nga imong gibuhat sa imong car. Okay? Sige. So you have here now we have here the capacity as well as the fuel tank with default constructor, fuel tank with parameterized constructor. So unsaon na nato ni sir? Sir. So let's say maghimo tag isa ka method. Okay? So para maano nato, makita nato kita ninyo asa na siya gamiton. Okay? And nganong naay 30 na apoy nganong inani lang. Okay? And then by the way, pwede nato ni siya tawagon like here. So ang current fuel niya is 1, or you can actually yeah, pwede na wala. Okay, wala. Then you can say something like return capacity. Okay? So by the way, wala tay. Okay, it's as you can see, you have returning type na double for your get capacity. So we intend to know kung pila ang current capacity sa tuang water tank. It's either 30 liters or either based ani kung sa gi-input. Okay, so let's go back right here. And then display na to siya dire or ibutang na to siya dire. Let's say just out lang sa ta and then tank that get capacity. So, expected, ang capacity sa itong water tank here is 30. Okay, pwede na ito nabutang 30 plus liters. Okay, 30 liters. Ayan. So, what if akong tawagon is not default constructor. Let's say, nag-customize ko, butang na ako 60 liters or 50 liters. So, pwede na siya kasi atay parameterized constructor that will handle actually actually handle that. If that's the case, your capacity now is going to be 50 liters. So that's the work of actually yan, no? This one is what we call observers. Okay, and we will discuss further observers later on, but this time let's have the second one, transformer. So unsa ang transformer? So ang transformer is sa Bisaya pa siya ang mag-change sa state sa object sa atuang fuel tank nga object. Okay? So unsa may mga reason or unsa may mga actions nato para ma-change nato ang state sa atuang object. Tama bang spelling? Ano ano siya diri? Current fuel. Tama man no? Parehag spelling class. Para. Okay. Sige. Now, this time, okay, unsa may term nato kung magpatubil ka, magpatubil. Public void unsa man? Oh, sige, unsa inyong gusto na term kung magpatubil ka? Sige na, go. Kung magpatubil ta, unsay dapat Unsay pangalan? Unsay gusto niyo ipangalan sa inyong program, sa inyong method? Hello? Unsay
Ano na sa sila?
unsay gwapo na term? Add fuel na lang para dali
Fuel.
masabtan.
Oo na. Pwede na po sir.
O
Add
add
fuel.
fuel. O, add fuel. Or add fuel na lang para dali to. O add fuel. Okay. So mag-add daw tag fuel transformer. So mag-change ba ang state sa tong object kung mag-add tag fuel? Yes. Kasi madungagan og fuel ato ang ano. So let's say double. So unsa man ang amount ana no kung pila nga amount. So syempre given na nga it's either diesel or gas. So depende sa imuha kung unsa ang fuel nimo nga i-add. So let's say syempre no amount lang atong kwaon i-capture ana. So this one is actually an input. Excuse me. All right. So ulanan mo ano? Sorry kayo. Inom tag vitamin C later on. Okay, so di lang matakdan kay online bitaw dili man I cannot make the virus sa tawag ani. Okay. Sige. Going back, we have here asan ako? Let's back where we left off. Nawala na ako. So fuel. So how do we know na ma-change ang or paano na tumaybalaan na naga-change ang current na yan? So current fuel plus equals amount of pila ka amount of liters atong gibutang sa fuel. Okay? Or sa ato ang fuel sa atong tank na fuel, okay? So this is an example of transformer. So it changes the state of your object as the moment na magbutang ka og value, it will change the state of the object. Okay? So of course, kung gusto pud ka na, let's say for this travel na daw ta. So unsa may calculation na to ani no? So let's say dili pud ta pwede mo ingon remove fuel kay di man ta mag-remove. Let's say ang action nato is travel. Okay? So nag-travel ka distance ato ang value, no? Distance. So karon unsay calculation nato ani? Per pilay makuha, okay, sabay na ikabaluan eh. Pilay makuha na fuel per distance. So na to na pag-calculate. So kung travel ka og let's say travel ka og 5 kilometers. Sige, 1 kilometer is pila ang fuel na ma-minus kunuhay. 0.5 liters, pwede? 0.5 liters.
Yes, sir.
0.5. Pwede na na?
Yes, sir.
Pwede na ni? No? Or di ba first 4 kilo ana na lang example lang na siya anyway example lang na siya
Okay.
So
Pwede na sir.
Pwede na 1 kilometer
Yes,
there
sir.
is a distance 1 kilometer is a minus na to 0.05
Lolo.
ha so unsaon na to na pag minus karon sa current fuel sige daw unsaon na to pag minus any idea? Like may travel ta og 2 kilometers, so dapat 1 kilometer ang ano. So how would we know na ang i-minus na to is 1 liter kay 2 kilometers ihang distance na gi-travel? Sige daw. If you were to create an algo for that, unsay buhaton na operation? Kay dili man ta diretso maingon current minus distance, no? Dili man pwede ta maingon na minusan na to ang current fuel based on the distance. Okay? Kasi if mag-input ta og 1 kilometer, Ang iano ani is 1 kilometer. So 1 liter, mahimutang na 1 liter ang matanggal. So based man sa atong formula is 0.5 liter. So unsaon man nato na how do we asa na to i-divide, i-multiply, sige daw unsa kaya? Unsay formula? Sige, go ahead. Hmm?
Nag-comment sa Tijin, sir.
Ha?
Nag-comment. Nag-comment sa
Si?
Tijin.
So man, less fuel per kilometer. Less fuel per kilometer? Hmm? Dili man kay 1 per distance is per kilometer is 0.5 liter. Okay? Awa ha. What if mag-input ta og 2 kilometers? Pilay matanggal sa ato ang fuel?
1
Pila?
liter. 1
1
liter.
1 liter. So pag 3 kilometers, pila ang matanggal?
1.5.
1.5. How do we know na kanina mga values every time mag-ano tag distance, ma-minus sa atong current fuel? Kaya dili man diretso distance atong kwaon. So i-calculate sa nato ang distance, i-convert sa nato ang distance by, sige, unsaon pag-convert sa distance para mahimo siyang convert into liter? Unsa kaya ang formula para ma-capture nato, ha?
It
Yes,
depends
unsa
on
man? Ha? Distance, unsaon? Or let's have another value. Sige. Double less o less na lang equals unsa man distance unsa to pag-calculate sige daw kamo may maghimo sa algo
divide
para pag 1 kilometer 0.5 pag 2 kilometers 1 liter pag 3 kilometers 1.5 so of course mag-change na siya every time maglahi ang distance. So paano na to may balaan? Divide how much? Okay, divide pila i-divide
0.5.
Distance may kung mag-minus ka 0.5 pero kung iano nimo siya divide nimo siya by pila
by kilometer
by 2. Okay? Specifically 2.0. Why? Kasi kung mapansin nimo every time mag-input siya og distance let's say 1 kilometer i-divide nimo siya by 2 it is 0.5 liters. So kung 2 kilometers 1 liter. Okay, 2 divided by 2 1 3 divided by 2 1.5. Tama ba?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So mao na ang ma-less niya na fuel. That's how you do it. Pwede sad ba sir na i-minus na ko? So distance minus let's say 0.5 dili, no? Dili pwede. So kasi let's say 1 minus 0.5 is tama 0.5 pero sa 1 kilometer lang. Pero how about this one here? Dili siya pwede. Kasi 2 kilometers minus 0.5 dili pwede. Okay? So that's simple calculation lang. So wala man ta kabalo pila unsay consumption jud niya pero let's say inana ato ang formula every time ang distance lang i-divide niya by 2 mo na ang mao na ang consumption sa ato ang fuel. All right? So this time these are mga basic transformers lang ni. Wala pa ta nagbutag aircon, wala pa ta nagbutang og nagpa-play og radio. So sa travel lang sa ni ha. Okay, sa travel lang sana siya. Okay? So di lang sana to apilon kay medyo complicated na kaya tong kuan. Ang pinaka-importante dire is mausab ang change sa imuhang fuel ang ma-change ang state sa imong fuel tank based on the action we make. So this time ang action na atong buhaton is travel lang. Dili lang sa atong mag-aircon, mag-play og radio or sa bang imong other buhaton sa car sa kana na lang sa. Okay, so this is basic transformers nato. And then for observers, syempre kwaon nato ang current capacity, no? Current capacity, current fuel. Okay, get current fuel. So change na to ni to current fuel. Yan. Okay, so nanatay current fuel and get current fuel. So this time pwede na nato ni tawagon dito sa ato ang okay, try na to, no? So let's start with 50 liters. So capacity dato is 50 liters. So we have here get current fuel. So wala pa tay travel, so dapat makita nato na so karon mag-travel daw ta kunuhay gamay. So let's say mag-add sa ta kay gamay na biya to atong gasolina. So mag-add ta, let's say, og pilay gusto niyo i-add. Ako na lang magbuot. Okay? Kaya ako may nagamit dire. So let's say add ta og 10 liters. So pwede ka mag-display na 10 liters added to tank. O, example ana. So karon try na to check kung pila na iyahang pwede na lang wala ang capacity. Anyway, di man na mag-change ang capacity, no? So current fuel lang ta. And then ano na po ta, tank cut, nag-travel daw ta. So nag-travel ta from Tagum to your place. So pila man na ka kilometers dito, ay mamay gamay ra ka. Pila ka kilometers na? So let's say may maningog kay gabilin inyong mga tingog. Sige,
60.
mag-ano 60 ayo kulangan na tong kuan tangke. Okay, sige. Ay kulangan na tong sana, kulangan na tong gasolina. Kuan na lang. Nag-travel na tag 5 kilometers. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Change
Kuan, sir, mga 30 siguro.
30. Pero kulangan man siguro atong kuan kay 30 divided by 2, that's 25. 30 divided by 2, that's 15. So kulangan jud ato ang fuel. So ano ta? Mahutdan ta gasolina. Kana lang 5 kilometers lang sa kuan lang sa ato lang sa kasayong uyab, no? Ato sa imong uyab. Okay ra na 5 kilometers na padulong sa imong uyab. Okay na no? Sige. All right. So based on sa ato ang natay 50 liters sa capacity, and then first natong ano, di ba, ang capacity nato kay na lang tayo 1 liter, and then nagdungag ta nahimo siyang 11 liters, and then nag-travel tag 5 kilometers. So pilay natanggal ato, basta 5 divided by 2, 2.5 ang nabilin sa ato ang fuel tank karon is 8.5 liters. O di ba, amazing kayo na natin ana. Okay, so imagine if mao ni ang nasa imong dashboard, no? So syempre sa imong dashboard makita nimo ang current current na ano sa imong sana fuel karon sa imong dashboard. Okay? So that's how it is. Now, syempre kulang pa na siya. What if, sir, syempre gusto na ako may balan, sir, na di ba na sa tank, sir, kaya mag-notify man na kung pa empty na ba ako ang fuel, kung puno na ba akong fuel, kasi syempre para at least ang only way na kung mapuno ang fuel kay may balaan dito sa inig magpatubil na ka, sir, may balaan dito. Pero mas okay, is it okay, sir, na tangan ako ang car na puno na jud siya, no? Kanang diha naa jud sa akong dashboard makita nga puno na siya. So okay na, pwede na to nabutangin ana. So that's why maghimo tag other observers. Anyway, this is your car. This is your this is how you make your car para sa fuel for that car, no? So walay magbuot sa imuha. If gusto ka na i-TV imong car, hala butangi. Ikaw bahala. Pero this time basic lang atong buhaton. Let's say we have here we want to know if our kani siya isa sa mga importante na mga observers, no? If ang atuang fuel is empty or not. Okay? So if how do we know na empty siya? Okay, how do we know na empty ato ang fuel? If unsa ang current water or fuel equals water man ako ano. Current fuel is equal to 0.0 or 0 mismo, no? Pag 0 na gani, okay? So pag kasi 0.1 kay double man, dili pa na siya empty, pero okay na, warning na dapat. Pero pag moingon na kay 0.0 na, okay, empty na to ang tangke. Okay? So now, How do we know na puno na ato ang capacity sa ato ang water tank? Ay, anong water tank? Fuel tank. Okay? If, unsa? Is full. Okay, may bala to is full. If, unsa?
Puno siya, sir. Nagkwantag 50 liters.
Pero, how do we know na 50 liters? Unsa iyahang basis? If
False.
maabot na siya kapareha sa capacity. Tama ba? Kung pareha na siya sa capacity, puno na siya. Kung
Max yung capacity, sir.
oh, yan, okay. So mo na tong buhaton diri sa atuang. Okay, so mas okay kung nainana imong program, no? Or imuhang sa imong dashboard. So na kay let's say so you have here empty. So empty ba imuhang tank? Yeah, tank that is empty. Okay. Tank that is full. Okay? So, tapos, nagdungag ka, let's say, nagdungag ka, ma-change ba ang, okay, ma-change, ay, full din, no? So, we have full, okay. Is full. Alright? So, let's say, nag-travel ka, 5 kilometers, tapos, let's say, for an instance, lisod ni siya i-ano kay mag-calculate ta. Anyway, let's say nag-travel ka og tank that travel para mahurot to 8.5 naman to nabili, no? 8.5. Ila ka distance atong i-travel para mahurot ning 8.5 para ang empty ma-true na ni siya. 4 point something, no? 4, tama ba? Ay ang travel nato is 8.5 man ni. So dapat 16 di ay 16 point pila. Kaya i-divide 2 nato. So 16 point
17
sir. 0.5 man ang
17
sa
na 17 point pila. 17 na ay tama 17 ka 8.5 man no. Lahi man gusto among math dito sa lain na school dito sa Harvard ba lahi mong mathematics dito. Okay. So example lang, so ni travel ta og 17 kilometers dapat ma-empty na ni, dapat mo true na ni siya dire. Okay, try na to. Oh, yeah, tama. Okay? First, empty, false, full. False yan duha. Kasi dili man empty. Okay? So, mao to akong giingon na dapat empty sa data kay para, wait lang ha, i-empty na to daw ni siya. I-0.0 kanang, wala pa daw ka wala jud daw kay gasolina. Okay? Para 0.0 jud to siya dito. Okay? So, ira na to balik. So, at first, sa imong car kay empty, true, full, false, kay wala pa man na puno. Nag-add, imong capacity is 50 liters, so imong current fuel is 0.0 liter. Tapos nag-add fuel ka sa line 12, so empty ba siya? False. Okay, full ba siya? False. So 10 liters siya, kaya nag-add kag 10 liters. Ni-travel ka og what happened? Ni-travel ka og 5 liters. Ay, tama no, kay nag-minus naman na ita ganina. So, basta kay mautong na ano siya. Wait, kasi 1 liter maguto ganina, so dapat kani para dapat 11 liters para para yan, okay? So full, empty, false, full, false. So 11 liters atong gidungag, nag-travel ta og 5 kilometers and 8.5 liters na ang nalang nabilin. Empty na siya. True, why? Kasi nag-travel ta og 17 kilometers, which is na minusan siya og 8.5, na makuha na tong 8.5. So empty na ka, wa nakadagan imuhang car. So pwede na pagbutang mo another state sa inyong object dira na ni hunong na ang imong car, wa na ni pwede na inana, no? You can actually do whatever you want. You can actually customize your own ADT. Anyway, it's your own ADT. It's your fuel tank. Now karon maghimo ta og karon og mga interface ani, no, para mas tsada. Okay, para mas okay siya. Okay, erase na to siya, and then nakuha ninyo class, that's how you test your water tank. So gitest na nato siya ato, and then this time atong buhaton is maghimo ta og let's say menu. Yan. So, example lang, no? First is mag-add tag fuel. Okay, and then sa ba? Travel. Mawala na atong action. Fuel, add fuel o travel. Kana lang sa, no? And then, stop the car. Siyempre, mag-start daw ta. Start. Sige, stop na lang. Stop. Dili lang, yan na lang start. Okay? Then, this time, maghimo ta og interface loops niya. We have here. So, we'll have here choice. Okay? And then, choice that equals, anong ends with? Asa naman ka? Equals, let's say, stop. Okay. So this time we have here, or pwede na menu 0. Okay. Okay, 0. Menu that is, pila man ni? 0, 1, 2, 2, no? Or menu that length minus 1. Ay, sorry, minus 1. Okay, kani na no last or simply stop. Pwede ra good stop gyapon yung ibutang dira. Pero just in case man gun mag-add mo unsa na yan nalahi ni siya nahimo dili na siya stop, ano na siya end na. Yan. But again, pwede stop gyapon. Okay? But the ano lang if what if i-change nimo siya og dili siya stop instead of stop end. Okay? So pwede ra na siya stop dili inyong ibutang if na confuse mo ani. So, kuha lang na ako ng murag kumbaga size sa array which is length minus 1 kay 1, 2, 3. 3 minus 1 is actually 2. So, 0, 1, 2. Ayan. So, at least kung imuhang array is magdaghan ka ng menus, consistent na imuhang condition dire. Okay? So, this time, maghimo tag switch statement. So, let's say we have here choice. Latest choice. We have case. So, kopyahon na lang nato ni ayaw na ng stop kasi so, this is for case fuel. Then, we have brake. Mag-brake na mo. Sa uyab unya. Ito, joke lang. So, they have here brake. So, alright. So, nanatay menu. Okay. Atong buhaton karon is yeah. So, maghimo ta og menu para magpili nyo choices sa atuang okay, dirita sa so you have here null and then menu. Wait lang. So choose okay, and then menu. All right, and then we have here let's say 0 lang na siya dira. And then let's say we don't have any kaning null. This one is component. Kani siya message nimo kung like choose ba, pili, ano siya title sa imuhang option pane. Kani siya kay message type either information message ba, either error, ana. And kani siya dire is this one is say tawag ani icon, no? If wala man tay icon sa karon wala tay icon, so dili na sa tag icon. And then for our array kaning menu and then menu 0. So kanang menu 0 is it would mean na ang first na ma-display is add fuel. Kung gusto ka travel 1, kung gusto ka kani 2. Ayan. Then i-convert nato ni siya into string kasi kailangan ni siya ma-convert into string, okay? Kasi string maning choice. All right. Pwede po diri ka magbutang i-typecast nimo siya diri. String. Yan, pwede po na siya dira. Okay? Okay, ato ning iano gamay para mababa. Alright, so this time, mag-add tag fuel by asking the user to enter fuel. Let's say, add fuel, double fuel is, and ang sanang isa, uh, kilometer or amount na lang. Sige. Or kilometer, pwede hapon, no? km. km na lang. Sige. Then we have, amount man to ganina, no? So amount na lang atong ibutang para dili na ta maglisod. Okay. So for this one, we are going to do the locomotion. Joke lang. So mag-ano ta dre og i-part sa day nato ni show input. Asa naman si show input? Ayun. And then have here add fuel, liters. Okay, sige lang. Amount na lang, no? Sige, amount na lang. Choice. Sige na, tag-amount, ani. Yan. And then, wait lang. I-parse na to siya. Okay, and then that's it. So, pila ka liters, amount in liters. So, ano na lang. And then, tawagon na to si tank that add fuel. So, sa tank that add fuel, i-add niya ang amount. Okay? Now, here, mag-travel punta sa travel. So, for this travel something, atong buhaton is distance in kilometer. Okay? So, after that, tank that, okay, travel, tapos, anong fuel man eh? So, fuel, dapat amount. Pwede na yung amount atong ibutang class. Ayun na yung fuel. So, we have here amount. Sorry for that, no? Amount. Okay, so, ayan, para unique, para common na lang siya. So, amount kung mag-add, amount kung mag-travel. So, pwede mo magdungag o option pay na show message. Up to you, no? Kung gusto mo, kanang amount liter is added to tank. Okay? And then for this one, pwede ka magbutang na amount of liter is unsa man ni dire? Unsay gwapo? Alay na po kung remove, no? Unsay gwapo na grammar? Reduce. Reduce. Okay, reduce. Mo man yung gusto. Sige, reduce from the tank. Okay. Yan lang. Untay choice, no? Okay, sige. Now, okay. So, nanatay options na add fuel, travel. So, if i-run, syempre, if i-run na to ni Dre, kulang pa ni siya because ang observers wala pa nato gipa-display, no? So, ano lang, no? Yan. Ano man yung 0, dapat i-1 din na to. So, travel, yan, add, stop. So, karon no matter if mag-add fuel ta, syempre, wala pa tay idea or wala tay mga, wala pa man tay interface, no? Kumbaga, wala pa tay observers, wala pa nato i-activate atong observers. So, dili nato na i-0, dili i-1 din nato na. Or, para mas klaro, option pane that information message na lang. Okay, so atong buhaton this time is we're gonna be creating another, let's say, hold equals, something like that. And then, yeah, pwede na ta diri sa fuel tank. Diri na lang ta maghimo. Okay, o observer. Pwede ra po diri. Okay, sige, diri lang sa ta. Then, pakitaan ta mo og difference between the two. So, we have here, hold equals, let's say, is empty or empty, empty. So sa empty, pwede siya boolean, pwede siya string, yes or no. Okay, pwede para dali, boolean na lang, true or false. Ayan. So this is, unahon sa natong kuan, capacity niya. So capacity is a tank that get capacity, and then iyahang sunod, current fuel, no? current fuel. We have tank that get current fuel. And then, so din na nato i-display sa baba. Okay, and then backslash n, we have empty tank that is empty. Ayan. And then we have backslash t. And then, so tank that is empty, unsay sunod ani? Full. Assuming mao na daw ni atong dashboard, tank that is full. Na makita sa atong ano. Sa pa may kulang ani is empty is full. Okay, kana lang sa siguro. All right. So putang na to siya backslash n choose. Okay? So instead of ang atong ibutang diri kaning menu or choose, atong ipuli diri is si hold. Pero dili man guna by the way, sana ko pa explain. Kailangan nato ni siya kaning backslash t magudi siya gana kung plain show input dialog lang atong iano. So kailangan nato ni siya i-convert kailangan nato ni nag JText area or butangan natong JText area ang J option pane. So JText area is still under swing components J option pane. Okay? So sa OOP i-discuss po nako na sa inyo hapon. All right, so i-run na to ang program and then we have right here. Okay, so there you are. Capacity is 50, current fuel is 0, empty true, full false. So add fuel ta, let's say 30 liters. So 30 liters is added to tank. So nanakay 30 liters karon, current fuel nimo, empty ba siya, full false na, full ba siya, false. So let's say mag travel ta og let's say 10 kilometers, so makuhaan siya og 5 liters, tama? So, yan. So, 25 na lang imong current fuel. So, every time mag-add, mag-travel ka, sikag travel, let's say, travel na pud ka, 20. So, that's 15. Ayan. So, kung mag-add na pud kag fuel, let's say, kailan itong nabilin? 35. So, 50. Okay. Kung natanaw ni mo, full true na siya. Okay? So, naatay travel, let's say travel, yan, napuno na to siya. So, travel ta. Ayan. So, that's it, no? Inana ang iyahang inana ang katikaran sa ADT. Okay? So, one more thing, again, dili ni siya perfect atong gibuhat. This is just a basic ADT kasi if you would like to really parang kung makompleto ni siya kanang gusto nimo na siya simulation na car mo travel, mag-start na mag-stop o ikaw depende na sa imong trip. So karon pwede nimo ni siya ibutang diri sa additional, pwede lang nimo ni siya ibutang diri like string let's say dashboard. Okay, ana na lang. And then, imong ibutang diri is return. Pwede ka diri sa return. Ayan. So, right here, instead na mag-tank.get capacity ka, kaya di man, naman ka diri sa kanina method, ana ka diri sa kanina class, pwede na diretso get capacity. In fact, pwede diretso pod capacity. Okay? So, capacity. Ayan. So, pwede na siya diretso sa capacity kasi di na siya method. Okay, pwede na po again method siya. Okay. Alright. So get capacity. So method naman na siya. I-method na lang nato na. Yan. Pwede current fuel. And then we have is empty. And then is full. Siyempre, tanggalon nato ng choose diri kay dashboard lang na siya. Alright. So here in your, instead of magbutang ka ani like here, okay, ang imuhang buhaton right would be ano na lang hold. Pwede na diretso like may value sa hold. Okay, dirita sa baba hold equals tank dot dashboard plus uh, \n tapos choose. Ana. Okay? So, ang imong buhaton karon would be, yan, mas na-shorten siya. Okay? Kasi nag-dashboard naman ka dito sa imuhang sana. Alright. So, ayan, that's it. No? Add fuel, or let's say 50 liters, 40 liters, ayan. On and so forth. So another ano is, syempre if wala pa tayong mga conditions here, no? Like i-condition nato na if puno na siya, okay, pwede ka butag conditions din like if is full, okay, if is full, so pwede ka butag error message na fuel tank is full. Okay? Else, hindi pa ka mag-add. Okay? So try nato ni, no? Pwede ni mo siya ibutang like here. Okay, so try nato. So let's say for an instance, we have here fuel, where are you? Yan, add fuel 40. So add ka, let's say 10. So mag-add kang fuel. Oops, ni ano lagi? Tank is full. Yun, no? So dili na ta ka-add. Yan. Tank is full. Even no matter how many times mag-add ka, 50 na siya. Kaya atong current fuel ay ato ang fuel tank is 50. So that to tank is full. So kung gusto ka, G-option pane para dili siya mag-inato. I mean, i-delete siya like this one. Okay? So, another one is if dili ka, like, if you don't like na inani imo ang add fuel, let's say add fuel 1 lang ni siya. And then, ang add fuel nato is, okay, ang add fuel 2 nato is, let's say, kanay lang jud. Okay? So, depende man guna sa imo as a programmer, no? So, depende sa imong algo. So, if you want na in-ani siya, so diri ka mag-condition. So, let's say, imuhang add fuel 2 man to, no? Ayan. Add fuel 2. Ayan. Ang fuel 1 na to na if condition. Ang fuel 2 na to wala. So, let's say, add fuel 2 imong gigamit. And then, so, among buhaton diri is something like if diri ka mag-condition. If tank that is full, so, pwede ka mag-display the option pane that show message, dialog null, and then fuel tank is full. Okay? So, in this case, si user ang nigamit sa imong program ang nag-unsa na, ang naghimo sa conditions, not you as a programmer. Okay? So, kanina, okay, explain lang ako sa inyo later on. Unsay difference nila. So, tank that, ayan, add fuel, let's say 40, add fuel 10, 10. So, add fuel ta, okay. Dapat dirito na to siya. Anyway, sige na lang. Fuel is, dapat dili na siya ano na. Anyway, sige. Dapat, tank is full na siya. Dapat isulod na lang unta nato ni si amount. So, pwede nato siya para dili siya dili nato ibutang, no? Ay, kasi kung dili nato ibutang, dili na siya mato sa else. Dapat mag-loop data unta. Sige, anyway, sige, sa kana di anan sa anak karon. Okay, so that's it. So what I am trying to elaborate here is that we have two add fuel, na isa add fuel 1, ang isa add fuel 2. So in this case, that's what I am trying to elaborate here. Na when we talk about the algorithm, lahi-lahi siya lahi-lahi siya paghimo sa depende sa programmer. Okay? So kanina programmer is a kind of a programmer na everything is already given to the user. So kung gamiton na ni sa, let's say gamiton ni siya sa imuhang ADT, gamiton sa user, wala na siya laing buhaton, tawag-tawag na lang siya niya. Diretso na lang siya mayon is full, is empty, ana. Wala na siya laing buhaton kundi magtawag na lang siya. So there's no logic behind, or there's no logic left to him or her when he or she is going to create a program na mag-implement sa imong fuel tank. So tanan na nasa iya, no? Parang generous ka in such a way na everything is parang given sa iya, tawag-tawag na lang siya sa method. Pero kani isa ka algorithm, kani siya kung inani ka na programmer, this is this is this is not being generous, no, or benevolent. Pero you are that kind of person na or programmer na at least okay, I intend or opted na inani ako ang method because I want you to learn na for for you to implement my or if you're gonna be using my ADT, there's still there's still logic that is being na imong buhaton when you create a program. Now as a programmer na mag-learn pog other program like kani gi-implement niya gigamit niya atong program pero dapat napod siya unsa dapat napod siya idea in on how to do if conditions, no? So kumbaga this is you're not being generous but you're helping that person who tries to learn your ADT to have at least his own logic. Okay, na malay mo like gusto niya na dili fuel tank is full. Gusto niya na oops, it's already full. So pwede niya na ma-change ang display. Unlike dito ganina, ang display is always fuel tank is full, no? So, 'di ba there's two kinds of programmers here na lahi-lahi ang kumbaga lahi-lahi upon solving. So, upon solving or providing solution to a problem. All right? So naa ni mga loophole, daghan ka any problems with sa atong program. So example ha. So which is mo ni ako ang ihatag sa inyo na activity. So let's say for an instance, nag-add ko 40. Ayan. So 50 current fuel nato is 40, ang capacity nato 50 and then mag-add ka og 20. So 20 is added. Tapos karon na 60 na siya. Okay? Tapos mo capacity 50. Okay? So medyo kung mapansin nimo, ayan, dili na siya okay, no? I mean, you'll have to have a error trap for that. That is also possible to this one sa travel, no? Mag-minus imong imong sana yeah, basta it's possible also to kung mag-travel ka tapos mas dako imuhang ang ma-minus na distance sa imuhang capacity or sa imong current water. So possible na ang imuhang mo false na or mo true na ang empty tapos maka-add gyapon ka. Pero after na nahimo to siya na true na to siya ato ang empty, dili nakaka-travel. So murag pero again nasubraan ra pud siya og minus. So asa man gikan. So dapat error trap nimo na siya. And then again it depends sa imuha pwede ka magdungag og public na let's say double another no kanang like gusto nimo may bal-an no kung pila ang ah, double unsa may pangalan na kanang remaining capacity gusto nimo butang remaining capacity. Okay, so you can actually do something like return sa ni so current capacity minus current fuel. So para may bal-an nimo kung pila na lang ang remaining. So pwede nimo na idungag diri sa okay, pwede nimo na siya idungag diri no. /n remaining murag sa flash drive god no murag sa mga flash drive na or hard disk na ay mga inani di ba? So pwede nimo mahibal-an pila remaining na lang na liters ang pwede na ma-store ana niya or mabutang. Okay? So let's try this one out para makita ninyo. Okay? So you can actually do something like this. Ayan, add fuel. So naka-remaining. So kung mag-add ka, let's say 30. So 30 liters. So 20 na lang ang possible mo na mabutang. Okay? Kasi pwede po na nimo siya mahimo as a condition puhon, no? Ang remaining. Actually, gamit na ninyo puhon ang remaining. So, ayan. So I guess that's it for today. Any questions so far? If you're gonna be asking me the code, I will not be giving you because I want you to do this on your own. Dili ko maghatag sa inyo og code. I want you to, kung gusto mo para, again, I will not let your life na medyo convenient siya pag ihatan ako ang code, pero it would be good pag you really do it on your own. Okay? Or when you do it on your own, or pwede nyo i-follow anyway, naka-record ba ni, I'm going to upload this in YouTube para you have also another, parang other, para again, no, ma-practice ninyo yung sarili in creating ADT. So, ihatag na ko ang code at a certain time or period, but not today, not in this week. Okay? Sige. Question.
I-upload na mo karon sir.
Dili sa.
Nya.
Dili na ko i-upload. Ay, ang video?
Oo.
I-upload na ko once ma-process na sa Google.
Sige.
So, na question class, wala. Excited mo maghimo og sarili ninyong sana. So, in ani inyong buhaton this time, I would like you to